Hello, everyone, and welcome to this LinkedIn Live, where we're actually looking 1 week later after the CrowdStrike outage that has happened and that kept a lot of people either delayed from a flight or a lot of cybersecurity professionals up all weekend, as did we. I'm not here by myself. My name is Fokker, head of threat intelligence at Trellix, but I'm joined with Max. Max, introduce yourself to the audience.
My name is Max Kersten. I'm part of John's team, and we work on the threat intelligence for Trellix. We've been working around the clock to stay up to date on the latest threats, well, on anything, but also CrowdStrike related currently. And this is a small update.
Yeah, so as Max said, there's many more threats than just the ones here. But for this session, we'll highlight a little bit what we saw in the last week. It comes as no surprise that threat actors are often the first ones to try to profit from a crisis. We saw it with COVID, we see it with other major events or actually recurring events, and thus also with the CrowdStrike outage. And when we look at it, some of the things that we saw from the team, and the team is much larger than us too. And there's a shout out to people that work on URL classification, malware analysis across the board for all our products. We had people working around the clock. But what we saw very early on were a lot of new domains were registered. Some are very questionable. Some were actually legit. And that kind of followed the news. So when there was the news for the gift cards, we saw fake gift cards domains being set up. So that's something that came in a lot. And as well as that, we have multiple solutions for malware and email. And one of the things that we also saw that was with the emails were a lot of phishing emails, but they were laced with something more malicious. And notoriously, we saw quite a bit of info stealers. Max, what did you see exactly this week?
What we observed this week was that info stealers tend to all jump in, and because their payload is generic, what they can do is they can change their lure and therefore jump in on geopolitical events or outages like these to lure unsuspecting victims into executing the payload. So what we saw is both known families. So, for example, Remco's Rat was used early on. But they were related to the CrowdStrike outage, which, in the end of it, as an info stealer name already suggests, steals your information. We also saw some new families pop up, like Dalpu or upload in reverse, makes it easier to pronounce, which hadn't really been seen before. And we had some links here and there with related, target areas, such as the Dalpu stealer targeting a Vietnamese web browser, which kind of gives you an idea as to where the target, geography is in that case. But some of them were more generic as well. There was the Connexio stealer, Python-based, which is also new. But Luma stealer, for those who have been around a bit, is a familiar name. So it kind of goes on and off as to if it's new or not. Some people just reuse or buy malware that's available for them and adjust it as such. In some cases, something new was either already made and is now used or was made specifically for this. That's hard to say from our side of the fence.
Gotcha, Max. Yeah, it sounds like they have a good mix between new and what was on the shelf. But that wasn't the only thing that we saw as well, because there was reports of a wiper that was very targeted, but that used the CrowdStrike lure. And I know you personally, with Tomer and some other folks in the team, have looked extensively at this wiper. We have a nickname for you, Mr. Wiper, as well. So, what can you tell us about this wiper?
This specific wiper showed quite some overlap with a case that was, I believe, on top of my head, December last year. And both this attack and the previous one are from a anti-Israel threat actor. They call themselves the Handler Group. And what they do is they craft this lure, they send it to Israeli entities, and they attempt to wipe the devices on their end. This wiper was an evolution of sorts compared to the previous one. It changed the code by removing some, adding some, but overall the code stayed the same. It's a relatively straightforward wiper. It just uses random data to overwrite your files on all disks connected and sends an update over Telegram. From Trellix side of things, we also saw the wiper, or rather the lure itself, show up in our email products. Our customers did not, given that the email product had blocked all the emails,
That's
which
good.
made our telemetry hunting easier, and our customers happy, at least I reckon.
Yeah, and I know there's a blog coming out. It should be published soon, where like in the final stage, and it's a blog by
It's,
yourself,
yeah,
Matan Raj, who did a lot of the reversing as well as Tomer Shloman.
yep.
Um, and then we not only wipers, and you talked a little bit at the Alhamdulillah group. They operate on the underground, so they have a Telegram channel and things as well. What else underground related was interesting?
So there was the threat actor called USDoD, not to be confused
Hmm.
with the actual USDoD. So this is just the moniker that they use. They have advertised the, well, allegedly have the CrowdStrike threat actor list that they use, which
Hmm.
they're now selling, as well as some other data that we couldn't really verify. What we did see from this list, based on the posted snippets, is that it looks quite legit, but without having the full information, obviously that's hard to verify. For the other claims, we
Of
have
course.
no data, so there we couldn't verify anything. So that's more of a waiting game, as well as a huge focus now for a lot of people as to what is in it.
Yeah, and it's hard to tell, right? These things with threat actors, they post things, they claim things. Is it often true? You don't know. The moniker or the threat actor or threat actor group, USDoD, is very known to us. We've been following this one quite closely for multiple years. They have moved from the different forms of breached forums all around, and they've been known to disclose a lot of data. So this is not an unfamiliar actor. It didn't pop up, but still, if we do not have the complete data set or it's not being posted yet, we cannot verify the authenticity. One of the things that and thanks a lot, Max. One of the things that I found fascinating this week is like that so many different types of scams or acts try to jump on the news. So we're active on X on Twitter, and one of the things that there were two misinformation kind of tweet bombs or messages that were sent out through either an army of trolls was fascinating as well. One kind of linked this outage together to the World Economic Forum. So how they do that, great. Yeah, it's fantastic. The people have a really good fantasy. And the other one was when you talk about politics, they kind of tied in the U.S. politics situation with the Ukraine, with CrowdStrike, and all together. And a part of me feels it was so far out. It was almost like they used ChatGPT to create a conspiracy narrative and just posted that on Twitter. So we're not 100% sure if they're actually driving the content to lure people in or change their minds, or just making fun of the whole situation by giving even more conspiracies. That being said, our team at the Trellix Advanced Research Center stays vigilant. We stayed vigilant last week, and we will stay vigilant this weekend as well. We work day and night shifts, so if there's anything changing in the threat landscape, we'll make sure that we can report it through our blogs. So if you're not familiar, we've set up a whole hub on our website that you can find, and there's all the resources there. So it's not only around the Trellix agent and other things. So if you might have questions, but for us, from a threat-centric perspective, anything that we find on the threat landscape that we find relative or important for you to note, we'll update that daily. So make sure you check out that hub and make sure you check out that blog. For now, this was a weekly update. It was a busy week. Let's hope that it will calm down and we have a nice weekend this weekend. But for now, thank you so much, Max, for joining me. And I wish everybody a really, really nice weekend. Thank you all.